There's a secret, a real one. Not the kind you hear in motivational videos or self-help books. This one is whispered behind closed doors, passed from one aware soul to another, and it changes everything. The truth is this: the rich aren't rich because they work harder than you. They're rich because they understand something most people ignore their entire lives. Something deep, invisible, and spiritual. You've been taught your whole life that money comes from effort, from hustle, from grinding until you drop. But let me ask you something. If that were true, wouldn't the hardest workers be the wealthiest? Wouldn't the people with 3 jobs, endless overtime, and little rest be the richest? But they're not. And you know it. You've seen it. The rich have a different state of being, a different relationship with money. They're not desperately trying to get it. They expect it. It's normal for them. It's not about arrogance or entitlement. It's about consciousness. It's about the inner world they live in, one that most people never explore. You've been looking for money in the world of effects. For the rich, they've mastered the world of causes. And the world of causes is invisible. It's inside you. Right now, you're living in a body, yes. But that body is moved by your consciousness, by what you believe, assume, and accept as true. That's the real power. The rich don't just know more, they assume more. They operate from an inner blueprint that says, I am worthy of wealth. I attract money effortlessly. I always have more than enough, and life mirrors that back. Listen to me. This isn't wishful thinking. This is spiritual law. This is the law of assumption. And it works, whether you believe in it or not, just like gravity. Now here's the punchline. The difference between a rich person and a struggling one is not money, it's state of consciousness. And the beautiful part is, you can change your state. You can rewire your assumptions. You can align with the same spiritual code that governs all abundance. But it starts now, in this moment, with what you choose to believe about yourself and about money. So listen for just 2 minutes, because you're about to remember what the rich already know. Money is not something you chase, it's something you attract by who you are inside. And once you feel it, even for a second, your world will begin to shift. Money is not what we've been taught it is. Most people think money is paper, numbers, or coins, something external that we must go out and fight for. But this belief is the very reason why so many struggle with it. Money, in its true essence, is energy. It is a reflection of consciousness, a mirror held up to the invisible patterns of thought, belief, and feeling that govern your inner world. You see, money is not attracted to effort alone. If it were, the world would look very different. The people breaking their backs day and night, running in circles with little rest, would be surrounded by abundance. But that's not the case. The people who seem to be at ease, who appear calm, confident, and almost detached from the chase, those are often the ones who have more than enough. Why? Because their relationship with money exists on a higher plane. Their awareness, their state of being, is vibrating at the frequency where money is a natural outcome, not a pursuit. The rich, knowingly or unknowingly, are tapped into a different level of consciousness. It's not about greed or selfishness. It's about understanding how energy works, how reality is shaped, not by actions alone, but by the quality of awareness behind them. When you see a wealthy person, what you're witnessing is the outer reflection of an inner reality. Their life is broadcasting what their consciousness is rooted in: security, abundance, expectancy. And here's where it gets even more mystical. Money, like everything else, is drawn toward certainty. It flows toward belief, not begging, toward confidence, not confusion. The universe responds to identity, not need. When someone identifies themselves as abundant, when they walk, speak, and feel as though they already possess wealth, they trigger unseen laws into motion. These laws begin reordering people, events, and opportunities to match their state. It's not about pretending to be rich. It's not about fake it till you make it. It's about embodying a deeper truth that you are already connected to the source of all supply. There is no lack in spirit. There is no shortage in the divine. The only reason people feel poor stuck or blocked is because they've accepted a belief in separation. They've forgotten that the outer world is only a shadow of the inner consciousness, is the cause of everything, and money is no exception. It obeys the same law as everything else in this universe. What you feel yourself to be, you become. So when you feel yourself to be prosperous, when you claim it, when you assume it, when you align with it in your being, then money must follow. It has no choice. It is a shadow and you are the light. The rich understand this, even if they don't use spiritual words to describe it. They move through life with a certain ease, not because they're lucky, but because they're not resisting the flow. They're not focused on how will I get it, but rather, who must I be to receive it? That question shifts everything, because the answer is not found in strategy. The answer is found in identity, in alignment, in vibration. Money is not outside of you. It never was. It is an extension of your own awareness. The more deeply you realize this, the less effort it will take. It'll no longer be about doing more. It will be about being more. The rich don't chase money, they allow it. They hold an inner certainty that money is part of the natural rhythm of life. And when you align with that rhythm, money begins to move toward you, quietly, effortlessly, spiritually, just as it always has for those who truly understand this truth. There's something hidden within every truly wealthy person, something most people never notice. It's not in their business strategies or their financial plans. It's in the silent, unseen realm of their beliefs. Every human being is governed by belief. Not the beliefs they talk about, but the ones that run deep in the subconscious mind, the quiet assumptions that shape their sense of identity. And when it comes to money, this inner programming is the invisible script running the entire show. The rich don't just believe in money, they believe in themselves. They hold deep, unshakable assumptions that say, I always have more than enough. I am worthy of abundance. Money comes to me easily. I expect prosperity. And because they carry these beliefs with certainty, life responds. The outer world is simply a reflection of the inner world. If you want to understand why someone lives in constant struggle or lack, don't look at their job or background. Look at their beliefs. The poor, not by fault but by conditioning, often hold the opposite assumptions. They may consciously wish for wealth, but deep inside they believe money is hard to earn, that they are undeserving, or that abundance is only for a select few. These beliefs, though invisible, radiate outwards and shape reality. The universe is not responding to your wishes. It is responding to your assumptions. You do not get what you want. You get what you deeply believe to be true. The rich may not always understand this consciously. They may not talk in spiritual language, but they live in alignment with it. They feel entitled to receive, not in arrogance, but in confidence. They expect to succeed. They expect to be supported, and that expectation becomes their experience. This is not magic. It's spiritual law in action. It's important to understand that these beliefs aren't just thoughts. They are emotional convictions embedded into the subconscious through repetition, experience, and identity. If someone grew up seeing money flow easily, if they saw their parents speak about wealth with peace and confidence, those patterns become part of their mental framework. They don't have to force belief, they simply live it. It's normal for them. But here's the key. Belief can be rewritten. You are not locked into the assumptions you inherited or absorbed. You can choose to install new beliefs. Beliefs that align with abundance, ease, prosperity, and flow. This is where the true inner work begins. Not by chasing external solutions, but by sitting in silence and asking, what do I believe about money, about myself, about what I deserve? The answers may surprise you, but once revealed, they can be transformed. Every person you admire, every wealthy individual you see, is walking through life with a blueprint. That blueprint is written in their subconscious. It guides their decisions, their responses, their energy, their confidence. And the best part is, you can create your own blueprint. You can craft it consciously, spiritually, deliberately. You can affirm new truths until they sink so deeply into your being that the world must conform to them. When you shift your beliefs, you shift your entire magnetic field. Money, opportunities, people, and ideas begin to move toward you. Not because you begged for them, but because you finally believed you were worthy of them. The rich don't spend their days in fear of lack. They are occupied with vision, creation, and confidence. And the energy they carry speaks louder than words. The truth is, money is neutral. It doesn't judge. It doesn't favor anyone. It simply flows to the place where it is welcomed, expected, and believed in. That place is not a bank account. It's a state of mind. And when you carry the beliefs of the wealthy, you'll begin to see what they see, experience what they experience, and receive what they receive. There is a secret so powerful, so quietly transformative, that once you grasp it, your entire experience of life and money will begin to shift. It's not a secret locked in vaults or hidden in sacred texts. It's available to every human being, but very few ever become aware of it. This secret is simple. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you assume. The rich may not speak in mystical terms, but this is the silent engine behind their success. They live from a state of being where their desires are already fulfilled. They walk through life as if what they seek is already theirs, and the world bends to meet that inner assumption. Neville Goddard taught that the assumption of the wish fulfilled is not a technique. It is a law. It is how reality operates. When you assume something, when you feel it deeply, when you embody it emotionally, you create a vibrational command to the universe. You say, "This is who I am," and life reflects it back without resistance. This is not hoping. This is not begging. It is claiming. It is moving into the state of the end of the desire already realized, and then living from that inner position. Most people try to live toward their desires. They say, "I will be wealthy someday," or "I'm trying to attract money." But the very language reveals the truth. They are not in the state yet. They are separate from it. They are identifying with the lack, with the distance, with the desires still unfulfilled. And so the state they occupy produces more of what it contains. More wanting, more trying, more waiting. But the rich, those who understand the invisible laws of life, they live from the end. They speak, move, and think from a state of already having. When a wealthy person makes a decision, they don't ask, "Can I afford this?" They ask, "Does this align with who I am?" They have already assumed a reality in which they are supported, prosperous, and abundant. And so their actions flow from that assumption. They don't force reality to change. They assume the change, and reality must follow. Assumption is more powerful than action, because assumption determines the quality of action. Two people can do the exact same thing, launch the same business, speak the same words, invest the same amount, but one is assuming success while the other fears failure. The outcomes will be entirely different, not because of the action, but because of the state behind it. When you assume wealth, you no longer chase it. You embody it. You radiate it in silence. Your energy begins to speak for you. People respond to your confidence, to your ease, to your calm. Opportunities are magnetized not just by hard work, but by frequency. You attract what you are being, not what you are needing. To live in assumption means to step into a spiritual identity. It means to accept right now that what you seek is already yours, that you're no longer trying to become, it's already done. This is the vibration of the rich. This is the hidden mechanism behind every life that appears to be touched by ease and flow. They live from the end. They don't ask life for permission. They assume their place in abundance. And as a result, the world around them mirrors that truth back to them. Again and again. If you've ever felt blocked when it comes to money, if you've ever felt like no matter how hard you try, it just doesn't come easily, it's not because you're unlucky, unworthy, or missing some critical opportunity. It's because you're unknowingly holding onto a spiritual agreement with lack. Most people are. From a very young age, we are conditioned to believe in struggle, to expect limitation, to prepare for disappointment, and over time, we accept those ideas as reality. We don't question them, we just live inside them, and that's where the problem begins. Lack is not something that exists outside of you. It is not in your job, your country, your economy, or your background. It is not in the numbers you see in your bank account. Lack is a frequency. It is a state of consciousness. It is a vibration that says there's not enough. I must work harder. I don't deserve more. Or only others succeed, not me. These ideas may seem small, but they hold tremendous creative power. The moment you believe them, you are energetically shaping your experience around them. You begin to live a life that matches them, moment by moment. Most people think they are thinking their own thoughts, but they're actually just repeating what was handed to them: old fears, old family stories, societal programming, ancestral wounds. These stories become internal laws, and once they are accepted, they act like invisible ceilings on how much you allow yourself to receive. You may dream of success, visualize money, say affirmations, but if the deep belief underneath is rooted in unworthiness or fear, you will continue to push it away without even realizing you're doing it. This is why the rich live so differently, not just externally, but internally. They are not fighting their own beliefs. They are not entangled in emotional contracts with struggle. They are not subconsciously rejecting abundance. On the contrary, they feel worthy of it. They feel comfortable around it. They have said yes to it, not just in words, but in their spirit. Their energy is open, allowing, expectant. They're not blocking the flow. They are positioned to receive. When you hold on to ideas like money is evil, people won't love me if I'm wealthy, I'll lose it all eventually, or rich people are greedy, you are spiritually rejecting the very thing you say you want. The universe doesn't judge. It simply matches your vibration. If you're broadcasting fear, guilt, or doubt around money, then money cannot stay. It may show up temporarily, but it will disappear just as quickly. Because deep down, you haven't made peace with it. You haven't allowed yourself to truly feel safe having it. The first step to removing these blocks is awareness. Begin noticing your automatic reactions to money. How do you feel when someone mentions wealth? How do you feel when you receive a bill? How do you feel when you think about being rich? If the answer is fear, guilt, tension, or disbelief, that's your work. Not chasing more, but healing what's already there. Because when you release the inner resistance, money begins to come, not as a reward, but as a reflection of your new spiritual alignment. It's not about forcing or fighting. It's about dissolving the lies. The lie that you must suffer to succeed. The lie that others are more deserving. The lie that your value is tied to your effort. Once those illusions fall away, you begin to see what was always true. That abundance is not something you chase. It's something you allow. And the only thing that ever blocks it is the agreement you made, consciously or unconsciously, to live in a world where lack is real. But the moment you decide to revoke that agreement, everything begins to change. There is a place within you where money already exists. Not in physical form, not in numbers or currency, but in energy, in vibration, in spiritual potential. That place is your consciousness. It's your inner world. And when you learn to access and dwell in that place, when you begin to feel from it, you activate the frequency that draws money to you in ways that feel effortless, natural, even miraculous. You don't need to beg the universe for abundance. The universe is already responding to you all the time. It listens to your state, your inner condition, not your words. You may be saying affirmations and visualizing wealth, but if the emotion within you is worry, doubt, or fear, then that is the message that gets transmitted. The universe does not speak language. It speaks vibration. And vibration is nothing more than what you feel and assume to be true. This is why the most powerful shift you can ever make in your life is not changing your job or your habits or your outer conditions. It's changing your state of being. And the most direct path to doing that is through feeling. Not just mentally thinking about what you want, but actually embodying the feeling of already having it. This is the key. This is the spiritual mechanism that the rich, either consciously or unconsciously, have mastered. To truly attract wealth, you must begin to feel as though it is already yours. Not tomorrow, not someday, now, in this very moment. You must feel the relief of financial freedom, the joy of knowing your needs are met, the peace of knowing that money flows to you as easily as breath. This is not fantasy. This is not self-deception. It is creation. You are impressing a new pattern upon your subconscious mind, and that pattern, once accepted, begins to rearrange your outer world to reflect it. Feeling is the language of the subconscious. The subconscious controls 95% of your life. And it doesn't respond to logic, it responds to experience. So when you close your eyes and genuinely feel yourself surrounded by wealth, when you allow yourself to emotionally taste the joy, the freedom, the the lightness of it, you are giving your subconscious a new experience to accept. And once it accepts it, it begins to make it real. Now, this is how reality works. Everything begins within. You don't wait for money to feel rich. You feel rich and then money follows. You don't wait for proof. You become the proof. The rich are not waiting to be validated by their environment. They move through the world with an inner certainty that abundance is already theirs. That certainty generates confidence, and that confidence becomes magnetic. People trust them, invest in them, support them, not because of their background or resume, but because of the energy they carry. It is felt before a word is spoken. You can carry that same energy. You can choose it. You can close your eyes right now and feel yourself in a life where abundance is normal, where bills are paid with ease, where you give generously and receive effortlessly. You can imagine the feeling of looking at your account and smiling. You can feel the warmth of financial security, the pride of being able to support those you love, the quiet joy of knowing you are deeply provided for. Feel that state is the key. And the more time you spend in it, the more it begins to harden into fact. Circumstances begin to shift. Ideas come. People show up. Doors open, and none of it is coincidence. It is all a reflection of your inner shift. Money moves where there is alignment. And alignment is a product of feeling, not wishing, not needing, but being. When you choose to feel wealthy before it arrives, you activate the spiritual law that makes it arrive. Most people believe money is something you must chase, something that lives outside of you, something you earn through constant effort, sacrifice, and stress. But the mystics knew better. The spiritual truth is that money is a shadow, a reflection, not the source. It is not the root of abundance, but the result. And when you understand this, you stop pursuing the shadow and instead become the light that casts it. You no longer live in the illusion that external changes produce internal peace. You realize that your consciousness creates your world, and money is just one of its many effects. The rich, whether they know it or not, are living from this principle. They carry themselves with certainty, not because of what's in their bank account, but because of what they assume within. Their lives are not driven by desperation, but by alignment. They know who they are. They are rooted in a state of expectancy, and that inner knowing, that energetic signature, draws money to them just as a flame draws light. They are the cause. Their circumstances are the effect. Their inner state is the light. And money, always and only, is the shadow that follows. When you chase money, you're confirming its absence. You're telling life, it's not here, I need to go find it. But that energy of chasing is rooted in lack, and lack can never create abundance. That vibration only recreates more striving, more trying, more struggle. It becomes a cycle, a trap, a spiritual loop. But the moment you stop chasing and start assuming, something profound begins to happen. The energy shifts. You step into the place of power. You become the source, not the seeker. And when you radiate from that source, money responds, not as a reward, but as a reflection of who you become. This is not philosophy. This is law, the law that governs all creation, as within, so without. When your inner world is full of fear, doubt, and need, your outer world mirrors that chaos. But when your inner world is grounded in certainty, peace, and abundance, the outer world begins to rearrange itself to match. You don't have to force it. You don't have to beg. You only have to embody the truth. And the truth is, money comes when you no longer need it to feel wealthy. When you already feel it within you, when you already live as the person who has it, gives it, blesses it, and expects it. This is what it means to become the light. Not just talking about faith, but living in it, not hoping for abundance, but assuming it as your divine right. Because the truth is, you are not separate from the source of all wealth. You are one with it. Money is not something God dangles in front of you like bait. It is a tool, a symbol, a result of your alignment with the infinite. And when you begin to live in that awareness, money begins to arrive in ways that logic can't explain. It shows up through channels you didn't anticipate. It flows with ease, not because you manipulated it, but because you became who you really are. There is no need to chase the shadow. When you become the light, it must follow you. Just as night follows day, just as reflection follows movement, just as abundance follows consciousness, you are the cause. You always were. The more you live from that truth, the more your world begins to reflect it back in every form, including money. You've just been reminded of something most people spend their whole lives never discovering. What the rich understand, consciously or unconsciously, is not about money itself, but about identity. They don't chase success, they become it. They don't plead with life for abundance, they expect it. They live from the end, not toward it. And now that you've heard this, you can no longer pretend you don't know. You've been given a glimpse into a higher law, a sacred truth, a forgotten inner power that exists within you, not in some distant future, but right here, right now. The moment you allow yourself to identify with abundance, to step into the vibration of already having, already being, already receiving, you shift dimensions. You move out of the limited self that begs and struggles and into the higher self that commands, creates, and receives. This is not arrogance. This is not delusion. This is spiritual alignment. This is remembrance. You are not here to struggle. You are here to embody the fullness of what you already are. You don't need to convince the universe to help you. The universe is already responding to the state you're in. When you are in a state of lack, it multiplies that experience. When you're in a state of abundance, it brings more of it into your reality. That's why this work is not about doing more. It's about becoming more. It's about remembering the truth and standing in it so completely that the world has no choice but to reflect it. You have now heard what only a few ever truly apply. The power is not in wishing or hoping. It is in assumption. It is in boldly deciding that you are already what you desire to become. That wealth is not ahead of you. It is within you. It is a state you can step into, a frequency you can carry, a consciousness you can embody. And when you do, life begins to bend to match that state. Opportunities begin to find you. The right people begin to appear. Circumstances begin to rearrange themselves with uncanny perfection, not because you forced them to, but because you finally let them come. You are not separate from the riches you desire. You are not chasing something out there. You are calling it forth from within. The outer world is a screen. The projector is your mind. And when you change the film, when you change the story, the feeling, the inner vision, the outer movie must change. It has no will of its own. It is only following the signal you're sending with your state of being. You don't need to ask for proof anymore. You are the proof. When you assume the feeling of already having, already being, already knowing, then the universe begins to echo your vibration in physical form. Money is drawn to power, and true power is inner stillness, clarity, and unwavering belief. It is not found in noise, in trying harder, or in desperation. It is found in silence, in knowing, in assumption. It is found in the still, small voice within that says, I already am. And now that you've heard this, everything can change. Not because the world changes first, but because you do. Because you've chosen a new state. You've chosen to live not as someone seeking wealth, but as someone who is already rooted in it. And when you live from that place, when you move, breathe, and think from that identity, money, success, peace, and power flow to you. Not someday, but now.